everybody, and welcome to my first ever interview on my Instagram channel. So naturally, the first person that I would interview would be my exceptionally good friend Ruth from Bagageddon.
Thank you very much.
So the reason I say obviously it would be Ruth is because Ruth is not only a fellow mummy, she's also a fellow Etsyan, and she was actually my first ever mentee on Etsy. So I have a set of questions that I would like to go through.
What happens if I get them wrong?
You won't.
Do I adopt a house point?
But before we get to the questions,
Okay.
just to kind of, let's loosen it up.
Okay.
I thought I would ask you a few quick fire
Okay. Oh,
questions.
God. Right, okay. You make me nervous. Right. Okay.
Nothing too hard.
Nothing too hard. Right.
Okay. So, clear your mind. First answer that comes into your brain.
Okay.
Yeah? What's your favourite colour?
Red.
What's your favourite food?
Chips.
What's your favourite ever book?
Persuasion by Jane Austen.
What's the favourite place you've ever visited?
The Peak District.
What's your favourite podcast for business?
Oh God, it's Being Boss and Digital Bonbons, and sometimes I listen to Gold Digger.
Do you know what? Oh, you said
What?
Being Boss. I'm so glad.
Yeah, I
you
do
said-
like Being Boss.
yeah.
I do.
That
They're
was
the
it.
three. They're the three.
That was
that
my
I
quick
was like,
fire.
oh,
See?
I passed.
You got through it.
I got through it. I was a bit nervous.
So, on to the questions. Now, Ruth has seen these questions in advance.
I'll still get them wrong.
So we'll just go with the questions that I have lined up for you already.
Okay.
So the first one,
I know
the
this
big
is the
one.
big one, and you made me. I cried when I saw this because I can never get it right. Okay.
What is your Etsy business 30-second elevator pitch? Go.
Okay, so I make reusable products, things like wipes, sandwich wraps. I've started doing sandwich towels, they're not on Etsy yet. And I'm looking at doing scrubbers, that kind of thing, which will help to reduce waste. You can reuse them, and it will help the entire family to be more environmentally conscious.
Wow.
That's not how I started. It is bags as well. I do bags as well, zipper bags. But I've seen a push more towards environmentally friendly cleaning products.
And one of the things that you didn't mention actually is the wonderful patterns and designs and
Yes,
colours
that's true.
and fabrics.
That's it. I do like funky
big
fabric.
word, fabrics.
It is cotton. I am a big fabric fan,
Yeah.
as you know.
Yes.
You've seen my office where the fabric lives.
And I must actually mention as well that we're actually in Ruth's basement at the moment, which is where you do the majority of your
I do
sewing.
the majority of my sewing.
Yes.
Yes.
But fabric is stored in a wonderful
the room
room upstairs.
yeah.
Yes.
She did ban me from buying fabric for 4 weeks. It was hard. If you like fabric, you'll understand just how hard that was. I did it though.
You did.
Then I blew it
Yeah,
off.
then you went back to normal.
Anyway, was that okay?
That was your amazing
Oh, okay,
30-second
okay.
elevator pitch. Yes. So, next
Okay,
question.
okay.
Obviously, we mentioned you have an Etsy shop.
Yeah.
So, what was the reasoning behind starting, well, any online business, but Etsy maybe in particular, or just any online business in the first place? What was the reasoning?
The reasoning was I had been making zipper bags for my own personal use. I've been sending them to friends, and I stuck them on. One of my friends advertised them on this Facebook group we were on, and several people said, "Oh, could you do one for me? Could you do one for me?" And I thought, oh, maybe people are interested in buying things from me. And I thought, that would be quite nice because then I could get some money back from all the purchases that I made for crafty things. So I started out life doing card making. So I sold some of my products in this group. And then I thought, well, why don't I start an actual shop, an Etsy shop?
How did you come across Etsy?
I think I knew of it. I just had heard of
In the
it.
crafting world.
In the crafting world, I'd heard of it. And I thought, it's a platform where I don't have to bother about a website. People know it exists. so therefore they will search for things on it, so they could find me on it. So it just made life easier, I think, for me at the time.
Yeah.
I had absolutely no business plans. It was merely, oh, I'll sell a bit of bits and pieces here and there and see what happens. And then, yeah, that's why I tried to try and give it. And I had opened it before the fateful day in Morrison's when we met.
Yeah, so actually, let's just, because that's not on the list of things, but I think that's quite interesting, because it is quite fateful, isn't it?
It was quite fateful.
Because we both have children that go to the same school, but we were both meant to be, I think we were both at the coffee morning.
But we didn't
for reception,
speak.
But we didn't speak to one another. I think we'd met each other once previously, but only like in passing 2 minutes. And then we just kind of happened to bump into each other on the same morning, just after, in Morrison's. Got talking, you gave me a business card.
I know, because I'd got it. Oh, I got a business card.
And then I think you just literally got the business cards.
I literally just got the business cards.
And I told you that I was kind of planning this journey. I already sold on Etsy, but I was planning, on helping other Etsyans as well. And that's kind of how it blossomed. And that was September last year, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So we're coming up to nearly a year.
I know. It's kind of surreal, actually.
It is really, isn't it? A lot's happened.
A lot has happened in a year, and it's quite surreal. It is quite surreal.
But you mentioned just before about how you'd heard about Etsy like in your crafting world, and there was a thing that I really wanted to mention was you have a great following on social media, especially on Instagram. Yes, because even though you might not have 200 million followers, the people that you have are so engaged with your posts and commenting, and obviously
that is true.
That's really helpful for the algorithm on Instagram.
It is.
So what would you say is your secret behind your Instagram success?
See, I don't think I have one. I just like to talk to people.
Yeah.
All through my life, literally. Like, if you look at my school reports, it's if Ruth stopped talking, she'd get on more in class. I just like talking to people.
And are these sort of, are the people that you have on your Instagram, are these sort of people that you've commented on their posts and they've just kind of commented back?
I think
or has
so.
it been in groups that you've been in?
It was a couple of people that I've kind of got chatting to. I met them through the Just a Card group. And I think somebody had written something and it had struck me as, that was, gosh, what she said really hit me. And so I looked her up and I thought, oh, she's doing this kind of thing. That's really interesting. And it just kind of, it just becomes
finding your tribe.
It does a little bit. And there's people that have come and, because I have another account that I started, maybe 4 years ago or something, 4 years ago, for my card making. And I just got chatting with people. I got to know people. And then all of a sudden, that big algorithm change that they did, where it went from chronological to that, completely threw me, because I had it all worked out in my head how Instagram worked. And I it was at the same time that I kind of started to kind of nosedive a little bit with doing the blogging and the card making, and the sewing kind of picked up. So I kind of lost a bit of love for Instagram. So I was quite happy when I started the Bagageddon account. I said to myself, the aim is not to get hundreds of followers. The aim is to find people that are doing similar things to you, get discussions going, meet up with them at times, because I've got some friends that I did card making with, and they're all down south, and when we go down south on holiday, we always meet up like once a year, and it's just like 2 or 3 of us.
And it's a great community.
And it is, because so much of the internet can be really nasty.
Yeah. So
much of social media can be kind of horrible.
Yeah.
But I actually, if you don't stress about it, like I did start to with my other account, and if you don't feel like doing Instagram one day, because I haven't for like 3 or 4 days, I really haven't done much Instagramming. The people that aren't really engaged with you, they'll disappear, and that's not bad.
But the people that are so supportive,
they kind of stick with you, and you stick with them, and that's what I quite like about it, because there is a lot of negativity about Facebook and about Instagram and all the social media, because it can kind of blow up and people can get nasty, and I'm like, well, I'm not put up for that, So I tend to follow accounts where they're quite chatty with you.
You can engage and
I can engage and they can engage, And some business accounts who are doing things in digital marketing. That's how I know Maxine from Digital Bonbons, who does the podcasts, and she does good podcasts. Because as a mum, you know what it's like when you're trying to get things done, and somebody gets really sick, and so that's and it's encouraging.
Mm-hmm.
It's encouraging, and that's what I like about it.
Yeah. So obviously, you started off in cards.
I did, yes.
Correct?
Yes.
And then we went into bags.
Into bags.
And that's how you started
That's how
the
it
Etsy shop.
That is.
So obviously you've been selling for just over a year now, because obviously you started before
I started
you
the
met
shop
me.
in about July. There was nothing in it.
Yeah, so approximately a year.
Yeah.
And in that time there's been a few Etsy changes. There's been obviously a lot of a big learning curve for you, and I've given you about 7 billion different courses to complete and tasks and spreadsheets but obviously you've done really well this year. Yes.
Okay, because I keep asking her. I think I'm doing all
and
right.
I tell her all the time. Yes, she's done
Do you think?
amazingly.
Okay.
So what would you say is your biggest achievement so far?
I think just sticking with it.
Yeah.
Genuinely,
That's a great achievement.
Not giving up, because you know there was that time. I mean, there's been about 2 or 3 moments when I've literally melted down and said, I cannot do this anymore. It's just not worth it. I just don't think it's ever going to get anywhere. And
I've always said.
And you've always said,
no.
We're
going back to this. Come on.
I know. And you've said, step away from it.
Yeah, exactly.
Give yourself some time.
Yeah.
And I've gone away.
Mm-hmm. And you've always come back.
I've always come back.
And you've come back, not just come back with the same momentum as how you were even previous to dipping. You've come back with more fire.
I know.
More ideas, more
that
gusto. And you've brought out whether it's a new product range, you've got a new idea, you've gone on a different tangent. There's always been an improvement. So I think, if anything, that's just kind of the way it flows.
I think that's just the way it flows for me. And so that, just not giving up and hitting 100 sales recently.
Yes, exactly.
That was a big thing for me.
You did not believe that
I did not believe it, because you said to me, you could do that, and I was like, I don't think I'll do it this year. Definitely not. And I've done it, and I've gone over it. I thought you'd
do it before Christmas.
I didn't think I'd do it before Christmas.
And
we haven't even hit the summer holidays.
Exactly.
Thank you.
Yes, definitely massive round of applause. So obviously we've just mentioned then about how you have kind of got down.
I do, a lot.
So what would you say has been the biggest challenge that you've had to, whether it's something you've overcoming?
I think do you know what my biggest challenge is myself?
Yeah.
That's my biggest challenge in all of this, is actually genuinely believing that I can do this. Because sometimes, like, people can be all very kind and go, well, you don't have to do it. It's not, it's just leave it. It's, it's just a hobby.
And there's
isn't
me
it?
behind you going,
And
yes, you do.
like, kicking me up the rear. But yeah, I think myself is finding, it's not trying to be over ambitious.
Yeah.
Because I can go off on a complete winner and just kind of go a bit crazy in one direction, and staying as much as I can on a path, and accepting that I have other duties.
Like being a mummy.
Because I literally gave up my job 5 years ago when my second child was born, because I just hated how it was working. It just wasn't working. And so I have to recognise that doing this as a job has got to work around the children. So like the summer holidays coming up, and I've decided that I will shut the shop for a while. I will rethink things and how it works, because I want to spend that time with my loved ones. And I think that's okay. And I think what I've discovered is that a lot of people that buy from me, they're also willing to wait.
Exactly.
I think they can be demanding in terms of fabric. Not demanding is the wrong word, but they can be particular in terms of fabric choices. But they don't mind if it takes 3 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think I should make the most of that.
And I think that's also because you fostered such an amazing tribe.
Do you think?
Yes. Because I'm not sure that every customer is always as accepting as your customers are and willing to wait and
I know,
be
because
okay.
I know some of you
Can be, a little bit more
demand.
Yes. But that's fine.
Well, that's fine. I
can accommodate that because I've obviously built my life slightly differently, and as in my business is obviously, well, it's bread and butter in
your
our
bread
house.
and butter. Whereas for me, it's not bread and butter.
Yeah.
It's to help out.
Yeah. So obviously I have to be a little bit more accommodating to slightly more demanding.
And that's what I think is quite interesting about having set up a business, is finding out what works for you.
Exactly. And being kind and realistic.
Kind and realistic. Yeah. And that's where I haven't been at times. Mm-hmm. Because I have then suddenly stressed because something's gone wrong in the house, and I've thought, oh, God, right, I need to really make some money so that I can help out with this. And actually stepping back and going, yeah, but you don't want to kill yourself in the process.
Exactly.
So, and also that it takes time for these things to...
It 100% takes time.
Like you can't, and part of that as well, part of the problem with me as well is that I am terrible for comparing myself to other people. Mm-hmm. And I think that's taken me this long to kind of go, so what if there's a shop that opened at the same time as you and has 1,500 sales already? That's their journey. That's not mine.
Yeah, exactly.
So...
And maybe it is their bread and butter.
Maybe it is their bread and butter and they've had to, whereas for me it's not.
Yeah.
So
being kind, being realistic with yourself. So my next question actually was, what would be the advice that you would give to either a new Etsyan or a struggling Etsyan? Do you think it might be something on the lines of don't compare yourself to others and be kind and realistic?
I think be kind to yourself, be realistic, spend some time doing some research, because I think I'm quite bad at that.
Market research. Yeah.
Because I tend to just go off on one.
Mm-hmm.
Because I like sewing and I like making things. And definitely consistency is key. But definitely being kind to yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And if you need to take a break, take a break.
Yes, exactly.
Because it's not worth it.
Because you'll just come back better anyway.
You will. Because that's always what happens.
Yes, exactly.
So, like, yesterday I was like, right, I've got to get this done. And I was like, Ruth, I'm going to force you to sit down and take an hour for your lunch. Because I did quite a lot over the weekend. And I sat and I watched a bit of Captain Marvel, which I now have on DVD. And I started to fall asleep. And then when I woke up, I was like, right, okay, let's get on with the next thing. So I find that if I take more breaks, I actually get more done. It seems crazy, but it really works. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It really works. So
the next question that I wanted to ask you was a slightly more kind of business related specific thing. But obviously you were talking there about having a break and getting a lot of things done. But what would you say is the tool that you now have in your business that also allows you to get things done and be more productive and kind of progress further and faster?
I think everything, all that course that you did for me the first
really?
time, that has been...
Oh, I thought you were going to say one of your new machines.
my new machines. But that's just... What, 7? What are you talking about? I've only got 4. I've only got 4 and one of them doesn't actually work. It needs a fix. But yeah, no, definitely. I mean, in terms of business, actually thinking that it's a business and actually sitting down with all the stuff that you wrote out for me and I went through and going, oh gosh, I have to think about that. And the COGS, the COGS spreadsheet, the cost of goods sold spreadsheet was a complete eye-opener for me.
Yeah.
Because I think people think like, well, gosh, that seems very expensive. And you're like, yeah, but I had to buy the fabric. I had to wash the fabric and iron the fabric. I had to cut the fabric with the scissors that I had to buy and the rotary cutter with the blades that need replacing. I had to buy the mat so I could use the rotary cutter. I have to buy the thread. I had to buy the sewing machine. all of that. And then it takes me time to make all of that. So actually, £14 for a sandwich
and then
wrap.
You've also got to add in
You've got
fees.
the fees. You've got to photograph it.
Exactly.
You've got to then market it.
Ship it.
Time
to go to the post
Time
office.
to go to the post office. All of that.
Mm-hmm.
And I think really, if people really truly knew my profit margins, you know, that's been an eye-opener
But
for me.
even though you say profit margins I think even so, obviously that means that there's always room for...
There is room, yeah, and I was going to poke me about that. Yeah.
But at least you know.
I know, and I think that's what
You
was
know
I know
what
they are.
You know exactly what your raw materials cost. You know everything about everything, and I think that is maybe something that sometimes people may lack, and that's where you look at other shops.
Yeah, I know.
And say, "Oh my goodness, how are they selling it for that price?
Because I don't know how they do.
But like I've said in the Handmade Business Hub Q&A last week, at the end of the day, it won't be last week at time of viewing this, but it is for us right now. Maybe they don't have financial goals. Maybe they don't have any goals. Maybe they don't have a clue what. I know, because
when I first started doing it, like for the few people on that Facebook group that wanted bags, and I'd go, I'm getting this amount of money in, and then I'd have to buy more fabric, and I literally just broke even.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's what was interesting with doing the cogs, when you said go and do this spreadsheet. This is what it was like, and I literally sat at the table and went, how am I going to do this? But when I sat down, and I use it like in my weekly admin sessions, because I have weekly admin sessions, I use it.
Result.
It's true. I do. But that's also been hard as well. Is like you have tons of admin.
Yes.
I mean, like I would just spend all day sewing,
stats.
admin and stats. God, like literally, I can people say, "Oh, it must be lovely. You just get to sew all day," and I'm like, "Yeah, that's not true. It's like literally 30% of your time is spent making products. 70% of the rest of the time is photographing things, listing on Etsy, and a listing on Etsy, by the way, can sometimes take you 5 hours.
Yes, easily.
Easy. That's literally the time I have when my kids are at school.
Yeah.
From dropping them off and picking them up, I could be doing a listing.
I think we could work on bringing that time down.
Do you think?
Yes, I think so. I think I can probably now, and I've been doing it obviously for longer, but I can probably get 3 done in an hour.
Wow.
But that's not including photographing. That is
that's
the listing itself. Photographing I obviously do in one big bulk.
Yeah.
And that's what I need 2 weeks if I've got a whole new
That's what
range.
I need to work on. That's what I think I need to work on, is my photography.
So talking about working on, what can people expect from you in the future?
In the future. Okay, so I have definitely discovered just how much I enjoy doing the reusable products. Makes me feel very good. I said to somebody the other day that literally I use everything, and she was like, "That's an amazing USP." I'm not entirely sure what USP is.
Unique selling point.
That's what it is. Everything I sell in my shop, we use at home as a family. It started out with wipes. I've still got them all sat upstairs. So when my very grubby 5-year-old comes in, she gets herself wiped up. We had some disposables, and she looked at them and she was like, "I'm not using them," and she used mine instead. Yeah. That made me feel so good.
And good for the environment.
And so much
massively.
Because we used reusable nappies for quite a while. And the amount of rubbish that we had to put out dropped by half. And it's the same with the wipes.
And sanitary towels.
Sanitary
I know
towels,
they're not
online yet. But the sanitary towels, they're amazing.
Yeah.
And you don't have to put stuff in the bin. And that's where I'm kind of heading.
Yeah.
And I've got loads of ideas about kind of filming how to use, obviously not sanitary towels, that would be a bit awkward, wouldn't it? But you know what I mean, showing the benefits of them, potentially kits, so that if you're keen, you can make your own little things that are reusable. So that's what I'd like to do. And I've got a friend who runs a craft shop in the village nearby, and she's asked me would I come and help her run some courses. So that has got me massively excited.
Yeah.
Because that's what I've always said, I like chatting. You can see, look, it's the machine's saying, "You've been talking for nearly 25 minutes.
Oh my goodness, it is
I'm very sorry, but I like a chat." And yeah, because then I get to meet people and help them to make their own products. And that, I think, is where I'd like to go. And potentially also selling the stuff that I need to make the products that I make as well in the shop.
So where can people find you at this moment?
At this moment...
What are your handles?
So my handles, I'm on Etsy as Bagageddon. I'm on Instagram as Bagageddon. It's B-A-G-A... Baga... See, now even I can't spell it. When it's not written down. B-A-G... A-G-E-D-D-O-N. That's it, Bagageddon. Like Armageddon, but with a bag in front. Okay, and on Facebook, that's where I am as well. They tend to be so Instagram and Facebook tends to be where where I hang out.
And I will also be asking for a few of your favourite product photographs and putting them on my Instagram stories today, obviously not today of recording, but today of viewing, so that everybody can see these amazing products that Ruth has been creating, which are not only stunning to look at, but they are helping the environment, which is so very, very
I know,
important.
that's definitely where I'm going.
So thank you.
You're very welcome.
For being my first ever
You're very welcome. Thank you.
And I look forward to maybe doing another one in the future when we start.
Oh, another year. 6 months' time. That would be interesting.
Let's see where we are now.
You're going to make me watch myself.
Thank you, everybody,
Thank you for
watching. And
Sorry,
we'll see you soon. Bye.